Okay. You want to count us down? Do it.
3, 2, 1.
Hi.
Hi, Bill. 3, 2, 1.
I'm William Dewan.
And I'm Gillian Jackman.
We are the hosts of Memories, where we explore the relationship between anomalous experiences and belief.
This is the podcast where the more we share, the more we remember. Hi, Bill.
Gillian.
How are you?
I am fabulous. How are you?
I'm really good. Really good. Good to see you as always.
Good to see you
Good
too.
to hear you as always.
Yes, most importantly for our listeners.
So today is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to share with you kind of what I think we should call the genesis of how this podcast even started.
Yes.
So you and I met in 2021.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I invited you over for dinner one day. And we had a lovely dinner party. And I had lots of questions about what you do and you know, who you are. And you shared with me that you are a professor. And
I told you, please respect me accordingly.
yeah, please only refer to me as Dr. Dewan, because you do have a PhD, very scholarly and very erudite.
Thank you.
And at this dinner party, I was listening to you tell me a bit about your backstory. And so for our listeners, please go ahead and share a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so my background is in folklore, anthropology, and media studies. And my dissertation was on UFO experiences in the Southwest U.S. in particular. So I was very interested in the relationship between belief and experiences. And part of that was my focus on what we call in folklore the memoret, which is, of course, the title of this podcast.
That's correct.
Which is a personal experience narrative about a supernatural or supranormal event. Right. And my contention was that these accounts are really the important building block for maintaining and producing new beliefs in the supernatural as a whole, including, of course, UFOs, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, you name it. And so that became of great interest to me as an academic. I've gotten a lot of sideways glances in my career as a result of that interest.
Not because you were wearing what you were wearing today.
No. I'm just,
Those jeans do look good on you, though.
Thank you. No, my general look is maybe different from the usual academic on campus. But yeah, I think that so I can remember the very first time I was a grad student and I wanted to write about like what I called these like ghost light experiences in North Carolina. And I was talking to a folklorist in North Carolina about this. And I explained I was very interested in going out to the site, interviewing people about what they'd seen. And I'll never forget, he said, yeah, that's a really interesting topic, but it seems a bit exotic for a master's thesis. And I thought that was a very strange
That is unusual.
response.
Exotic.
Yeah, and I was like, so what should I do? Should I study, I don't know, basket, weaving in Ukraine? And I say that, but like no judgment on those that do, but it seems weirdly judgmental.
Right.
It's like, why shouldn't I care about these kinds of things? So I think, from that point forward, I was very interested in like this kind of pushback among, at times, not all, but for many academics about these kinds of topics as being something that serious scholars should not be interested in. I think, well, why wouldn't we be interested in these things, right? So I love to collect stories from people about the strange things they themselves believe they've experienced and then, key point here, have crafted stories out of.
Right.
And that's a major, major element to this. Not just you reciting experience. It's the story that you've created over time and then communicated to other people.
Yeah. Really, really cool. So on that dinner party, I shared with you my own experience. And at the time, I think I was very hesitant to share it with anyone.
Why?
I just think I was concerned that people would think I was crazy. Mm-hmm. And that's obviously common, right? We always, the people we interview share their experiences, but I think there's always that idea that it will come across as they are maybe a couple of slices short of a loaf.
Right.
And we just met each other, so it was personal to me, very personal, but also too I didn't want to come across as I was maybe a bit of a loose cannon, which most people know I am. Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at
all. So I'm going to share with you, again in detail, my account that happened to me.
Right. This is our origin story.
This is our origin.
Podcast.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
How Gillian got involved in this subject.
Yes.
Yeah. So just give us a base. I mean, like with other witnesses, do you want to give our audience a basic background about?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. That's context is everything.
Right.
So, I mean, I'll just dive into the story. So it was COVID, mm-hmm. and a friend and I had obviously felt the lockdown pressures, being locked inside. Mm-hmm. Well, we weren't locked inside, but did feel like that, locked down.
You couldn't go to Applebee's for a month.
I mean, you couldn't even go to Sizzler.
Oh, Lord.
Taco Bell was closed.
And for Americans, that's communism, basically.
That is communism.
Yeah.
And we decided we were going to go and find a place in the desert. He's a writer, and he was having a bit of writer's block, obviously, with everything that was going on at the time. And I said, yeah, absolutely. We'll go and get a place. And we live in California, so there's an abundance of very remote places to go to. And I let him find the place. It was an Airbnb. And it was really funny because I'm the kind of person where I say yes to things, but like literally the day of is really when I figure out the details of where I'm going. I'm not a massive planner per se. I'm more spontaneous. So he said, right, I've booked the place. And it is in a place called Adelanto.
Where is that?
Good question. I think I'd have to look it up on the map, but I'm pretty sure it is, if you take the freeway out of LA County and you go on the 15 north, going toward, I think that would be what, the 15 north is going towards Barstow, I believe, right?
I think so, yes.
So it's a tiny place. And what was really funny was when he told me, this is the place, he goes, oh, you're going to have to meet me at the end of the street. Or not the street, you're going to have to meet me this road because I have to give you the coordinates to find the place. And I just thought, that's ridiculous. I mean, in this day and age...
Coordinates?
Yeah,
it sounds like a game show.
Right. And I got in the car and I drove for what was about, 2.5 hours, something like that. And sure enough... the roads were like freeway, dual, street, and then suddenly like a dirt road, which is like CA something or other. Mm-hmm. And he was right. He was like, right, I'm meeting you there. So I saw his car and I follow him. We make a right and we're literally going down dusty, these aren't even roads, like just dusty tracks that we're following. And it's really flat, as the eye could see. Kind of remind me of Texas. Just big sky, very, very flat land, and no buildings or features around. The only thing you could really see in the dirt road was people's mailboxes. And there was like no house behind the mailbox. Just like, this is the mailbox group that for the houses that are God knows how many miles off in the desert. So we're really in the desert. Mm-hmm. So he meets me, he follows me down. I'm like, where are we going? Then we make a left off this little dirt road into like navigating and weaving between tumbleweeds and little brushes and bushes. And I'm like, where are we going? This is wild. Follow him. We couldn't see a single building in sight. And then all of a sudden on the horizon, this like little house, like structure. It's not even a house in the traditional, like, sense of what we would think a house looks like. It was just like a structure. And we pull up there. And I'm like, wow, you were not joking. He's like, yeah, I literally had to get the coordinates from the owner to find this place. So we were in the middle of nowhere. Get up there, it's afternoon, probably about 2-3 in the afternoon. The sun's high, it's very hot, very deserty. We've got this house, and It was a really cool house too, because it was like kind of indoor, outdoor, like part of the house and the kitchen were actually open air. Didn't have a roof per se. And then the house with the bedrooms was off to the other side with the bathrooms and amenities, etc. And it was really interesting. What was funny was when we first got there, we saw a rattlesnake. Not uncommon, obviously, in the desert in California, but alarming if you've never seen one before. And I could hear its tail like rattling.
You heard it first before you saw it.
I heard it first before I saw it.
That's why I like rattlesnakes.
And so we saw the rattlesnake, and I was like, "Oh my God, there's a rattlesnake!" And he was like, "Don't worry about it. I've got a BB gun. I could shoot it." And I said, "Please don't shoot the rattlesnake. It's probably going to go on its own. Let's just leave
a rattlesnake.
It. Yeah, let's let it go." But it was like kind of the first like weird thing that the minute we got there, I'm face to face with a rattlesnake. So then we went in, unloaded all our stuff. We were there for the weekend. We get all of our goods out the car and the food, and we're going to have this amazing dinner. And he'd bought some steak, and I'd bought some salads, and we had loads of, like, some wine, and we were just going to have this really amazing weekend in the desert, away from COVID, away from all the stresses that were, came along with at that time, and just talk, enjoy our time together as friends, and just not worry about the rest of the world, shut the world out. So we make dinner. I have this lovely dinner, and we're sitting there, and there was a gazebo, like kind of a platform that they'd built, and we decided we're going to maybe light a fire, and so we went outside, and obviously at this point it's dark. We're eating dinner, it's dark, and I'm looking out, and I look off in the distance, and I see this very strange light. And I say it's strange because it wasn't a star, but we were in the middle of the desert, right? So the stars it was a moonless night as well.
About what time do you think this was?
It must have been probably, I would say, midnight, 1 a.m, so something like that. Okay. So it was kind of late. Mm. And I'm standing with Grant, his name's Grant, my friend, and I say, look at that. Do you see that? And it was weird. It was kind of like this light, and it was moving in a very odd way. It was kind of moving up and down, left and right. So it wasn't a star, and it wasn't a plane. And it was, for a drone, I think moving too erratically to be a drone. It was up, down, left, right, off to the left, off to the right, up, down, left, right. And I looked at Grant and I said, "You see that, right? You see that?" And he was like, "Yeah, that's probably the light on top of the mountain." I said, "Grant, we were in the desert. It's flat. There were no topographical, elements of mountains or hills. It was just flat." I said, there's nothing out there. There's not a light flashing on top of a building." He's like, no. It's definitely that. And I was like, no way. And then me and my sort of got to document it itself. I got my phone out and felt like I needed to document this because I wasn't really sure if I was trusting my eyes. And we'd had a bit of wine with dinner.
Right.
So I got my phone. And I come from a photography background, so the first thing I know is, like, you stabilize your phone. Don't try to hold it and chase this light around, because it's just you moving the phone. So I stabilized it. There was kind of a fence outside of the property, and I stabilized it. And as I was doing that, I noticed that there was 3 more of them, and then I think I counted a total of 5 in the end. And they were all moving erratically. It felt like maybe they were, I don't know, communicating. I say this and I'm thinking, were they communicating, or am I just imparting that onto what I'm seeing to make sense of what I'm actually witnessing with my eyes, right? And I stayed out there for about, I'd say 3 hours until the sun came up. 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
The sun came up about 5, I think, in the morning.
Wow.
And they were moving in such a strange way. And it was really, really quiet. There was no noise. There was no hum. There was no machine kind of sound. It was just this very silent movement of these 5 lights all just moving. And they weren't really, really far away either. They sort of felt quite close. I can't really put a distance on it because, it's dark. You're in the desert. And when there's no topography to kind of say that's a mile away, that's probably 2 miles away. And then just being so dark, it was, but they were close. They felt close.
Right.
And I felt like, it's weird. The feeling I had was, I wasn't sure if it was like, something felt magnetic. I can't quite describe why something sort of felt like magnetic. And again, no sound, no noise. And I just filmed them. I just filmed these lights for hours. And I have a ton of footage. And as you know, I've shared that footage with you.
Yes.
And it is compelling, to the story, because obviously a lot of people have these experiences but didn't get their cell phone out, or perhaps it was a time when there weren't cell phones around. And I was smart enough to say, like, stabilize it and capture it. And what I captured was these lights kind of coming into view and going out of view and shooting around, going up and down, then coming off to the left and then coming back into the camera frame and then shooting off to the right and then kind of staying in the camera frame, almost to the point where I was like, can they see me filming them? And are they almost not performing is the right word, but do they know that I'm filming them? Is there some way that they can see what I'm doing and they're sort of like showing up? So the footage is really alarming. I can't explain it. I've looked at it many, many times. I've shared it with you.
Right.
I can't explain what it was. I do know that when the sun came up, they sort of disappeared. Obviously, they're lights, right? So once the ambient light of the sunlight came, in the break of dawn, they disappeared. But there were about 5 of them. And I kept thinking, oh my God, what if this is like some sort of craft of some, otherworld origin? And what if they land? What if they land? I'm like, what if something happens to me? And I was really like excited for that possibility of what if is a craft. And obviously a lot of that kind of narrative in my head is shaped because I've seen Close Encounters, Third Kind, a great, that's what I'm saying. Is like a lot of I'm mediated in a way to how I'm experiencing this from what I've seen in many movies or other material of people's sightings. Now, I will say, I couldn't get Grant to come back out. He was just like, I'm going to bed.
Okay, so how long was Grant there before he went inside?
I think I would say he was probably there for about 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes.
Okay.
And he was really discrediting everything I was saying. I was like, no, but look at that. Like, look, that is so unusual and odd and not explainable.
And he was looking at it and dismissing it.
Yeah, he was looking at it and he was like, well, I wouldn't say he was dismissing it. He was trying to find a logical reason, not logical explanation for what he thought it could be. A light in a building. Now, also, too, with that said, afterwards, I did look up, if there's a military base or some sort of, government, base that is maybe getting involved with testing,
right.
Some sort of technology that they are working on. I do believe, and you might have to fact check me on this, I think there is a base not too far away, maybe 15 miles away. I think it's Edwards Base.
Yes. So I was going to ask you, what direction were you facing?
It's a great question.
We have your GPS coordinates you shared with me. I was looking this up on just Google Maps. And so the location in which you were staying was basically directly northeast of the Southern California Logistics Airport.
Okay.
And Edwards Air Force Base would have been to your northwest.
So that's a great question. I probably need to look. So I was looking away from the actual main road, where the main road would have been. Mm-hmm. So I want to say that it might have been east.
Okay.
Because I've been thinking about when the sun came up. It was definitely dawn broke in front of me, so I must have been facing east.
Okay. Which would have been away from both the airport but also the air base. Now, one thing also, do you remember, you said it was a pandemic. Was this 2021?
2021, early
like,
2021.
I remember what month?
Yeah. I looked into this the other day, actually. I think I want to say it was... I feel like I want to say it was August.
Okay, so it would have been like summer.
August 2021.
And just to note, for those not aware, Edwards Air Force Base has had some notable, UFO-related folklore or encounters, going back to an incident in 1965.
Oh, yeah.
But also maybe the one that I was most familiar with was Gordon Cooper, the astronaut.
Okay.
He alleged that during the 1950s, while he was stationed there, that he saw a metallic craft that actually landed
Really?
in a dry lake bed, and that it was filmed by people on site, and that footage had been compensated by unknown, officials.
Men in Black.
Yeah, or maybe just the Air Force in general. There's another sighting like the 90s. So Edwards Air Force Base has been associated with several prominent sort of UFO sightings, and obviously, put our skeptics hat on. People might look at your account and say, "Well, was this just something a test flight of something?" Which
Right.
that base is known for,
Right. Of
throughout
course.
the years.
Of course.
But what I find interesting about your case is, and I've seen the video footage, and we can certainly post that
We will.
on social media for our listeners
Absolutely.
to view. You've stated this. You felt like it was kind of a, if not a communication with you, kind of a display.
It did seem that way because there was, like I said, there was 5 of them. And they were, again, like I said, yes, I was looking obviously at them with my eyes, but then I would look down at the phone that was videoing and see this sort of, it felt like it was a display. Like they were communicating with each other, or like I said, that they knew I was filming. And the reason why I say I feel like they knew I was filming is because they would keep coming back into the view of the phone.
That's weird.
Very weird. Very weird. And the video footage, it shows that. It shows them going off and then coming back in. And when I was looking at them, it was like, the camera's always going to pick up certain, I think there's going to be probably some discrepancies between what I saw, because the video is a video of a camera, on a cell phone, so its capabilities are limited, versus what I could see with my eyes, which was, they looked circular, almost oval, and they were like, it felt like they had little dotted lights, maybe green or blue, around a central kind of main light, with like a little spike of green coming off the top and the bottom, which is like the light. It looked like the green light was like a flare. Now, it's strange. I mean, I could draw it for you, but then when you look at the video footage, that it doesn't look like that.
Right.
In all of the footage, like in the footage, you see this sort of swirling light that looks like it's spinning. It looks like something's spinning in the center of it. So it's interesting too, as well, like having that footage, looking back on it, and then knowing my memory, recalling my memory is what I actually saw. There's a little bit of a discrepancy there as well, which I think is interesting.
Which is to be expected, but also I think that some people don't appreciate how, even now, how crappy these cameras on our phones are, as good as they are, of actually capturing anything in the air, like especially at night or what have you. So it doesn't surprise me that there's a discrepancy between what you observe versus what is captured on camera. But the movements, at least,
the movements are the same. Yes, they are consistent, 100%. Yeah, just the up, the down, the very erratic, up, down, left, right, spinning off, coming into the frame. Yeah, it was a really interesting experience. I mean, it was so interesting to me that, I stayed there for hours watching them. And I say too, I was there for hours. It didn't feel like I was there for hours. It felt like I was there for minutes, honestly.
Interesting.
Which is also interesting. So it's almost like the concept of time itself had, my perception of it had changed, because, I don't know, maybe because I was so alarmed, or I was so trying to understand what I was seeing, that, yeah, I didn't really have any concept of time. I couldn't believe when the sun was coming up. I was like, wait, I've been out here for hours. So went back in, got some sleep, woke up the same day, woke up the day, and I was like, you've got to see this, Grant. I filmed it. He's like, you were out there all night. I was like, oh, yeah. I thought these things were going to land. I thought I was going to, have some sort of encounter with, an alien, or I really did. In my mind, I really did. I was like, wow, these could land. Take me to your people is what I was thinking. So, but when I got back, I think it was really something I kind of kept private, because I was concerned that people would think I was crazy. And I only shared it with you once you told me your background. And it felt like a safe space to kind of discuss it, which I'm hoping this podcast and the people we interview is also, it mirrors that in a way. It's like we're not here to debunk, but here to kind of explore, those experiences and how it shaped me. Now, how has it shaped my perception of the world? I mean, I think I was always very curious, and I do believe that it's highly improbable that we're the only, living creatures in the galaxy, let alone the universe, right? Just by the sheer size of it. So I think I've always been looking. I've always looked to the sky to see what's that, thinking I would see something. And I did.
So that was your first anomalous
That was
light
my
sighting.
first, yes. I've not seen one since that. I mean, I've seen some strange things in the sky. I mean, my partner and I, we go to the desert quite a bit. We go to Borrego Springs often. Borrego Springs is a really fascinating place because it's it's part of the Dark Sky Ordinance. And there's, I think, only 19 places in the world where you actually cannot have any lights. So there's no street lights, there's no house lights. You have to even if you do have house lights, the ordinance is that you have to have them turned off by 10 p.m. It's a great stargazing place. You can see the Milky Way with the naked eye. It's a fascinating place to be. And we go out there often, twice a year, and I'm always looking. I'm always like, maybe I'll see them again. Interestingly enough, I got back and I did a bit of research. I was like, okay, Adelanto, strange place. Not much to see there. There's not even a town. I think you could blink and miss the little town or the couple of shops that are there. But there was a video that was posted in 2019, I believe, and it was the same video that I had seen. Sorry, well, not the same video I seen, but someone had videoed exactly what I had seen from their house in Adelanto. And it was interesting, the comments like, that's a weather balloon, and that's just a satellite, and that's this, and that's that. I thought it was very interesting people were so staunchly trying to debunk it or, say it's something, reasonable that would be in the air like that. But the movement is what was alarming, the way it was moving. It didn't move like a plane. It didn't move like a drone. It didn't move like anything I could explain that would move that way. It's the sheer speed of it, like shooting off to the left, shooting off to the right. I mean, what moves like that? I don't know anything that moves like that.
Right. And of course, people can, when we post these videos on social media, people can view for themselves, but with the important caveat in mind, it's not you moving the camera around.
So the one thing I know from my photography background is if you want to film something, you have to stabilize the camera. So the cell phone was propped on the fence and did not move. I was not holding my hand in the air and trying to track them with my hand. I know that's not good. And I have a friend of mine actually who's a video editor, and he tried to put some tracking onto it using some software. And he wasn't able to do it because it was moving so strangely.
It does, in the videos that I've seen, seem to just keep weirdly popping back into the middle of the frame.
Yes.
It is almost like it's a display for your camera.
Absolutely.
And that's what's very eerie to me. Now, I can fully get on board with some experimental test, except for the fact that at least my understanding is from a civilian, I don't know any drones that move like that.
Do not.
Aircraft, helicopters,
Nope.
what have you. So all I can think of, bugs, but those aren't bugs.
No, not there's some big bugs too.
I mean, birds wouldn't move that way.
No, there is nothing in any, there is just no explanation for it. There's nothing that I have seen or witnessed in my life
For
that
hours.
for hours. Yeah, 5 of them. Yeah.
It's all total. Taking all of that together to me makes this very, very strange.
Very strange.
It's almost like it's a little show for you.
Yeah. Or, again, just having the camera there was, I sort of think to myself, like, would my experience be different if I didn't have the video footage? Am I somehow leaning into something because I've got this video footage? But I truly believe, and I know because I was there, like, regardless of that. And the funny thing was, I wasn't actually looking, like when people go to a concert and they're like filming the concert. I always think that's like a little bit redundant. Like, why not just watch the concert and then maybe take a couple of pictures? I don't know the point in videoing something when you're there witnessing it. So I feel that way about in having a visual experience being something that you see through your eyes and interpret the way you see it and the way your brain figures out what you're seeing. It's nice to have the footage, right? It's a backup, but I don't think it wasn't like I was watching everything through the video on the phone. I was actually just, okay, I'm going to film this and I'm going to look at this. And that's how I was able to see so many of them. 5, I counted total. And yeah, it's really, now what's interesting about that is ever since then, my friend Grant and I have he's like, oh, we should go out there again and we should see them. And so somewhere along the way, he went from dismissal to curiosity to, I wonder if we went back, I was like, listen, I can't conjure them up and say, like, open sesame, and they show up.
Or maybe you could.
Or maybe I could. Maybe I could. Maybe I am some receptor for it in a way.
We have got to talk to Grant.
We will definitely.
I would love to hear his version of events, the impact on him or lack of impact on him, and his thinking. It sounds like his thinking may have changed a bit.
Well, I think he has. I think also too having the video probably was so compelling that he wasn't able to dismiss it. Like, looking at it in the moment, yes, he was like, oh, it's this, it's that, or it's a light on the mountain, blah, blah, blah. And then sort of walked away. And you know what's so funny is, like, I think we need to ask him again, like, what drove him to sort of walk away from it? Was it some sort of, I don't know what I'm looking at and I'm fearful about what it could be, and then I just don't want to see this? But what's interesting now is he's definitely very intrigued about going back there again to see if we could witness it. Yeah,
that's really interesting, and something I've been writing about recently is, like, we have emotional responses to things regardless of our ideology, what we believe, what we don't believe. And that includes disbelief. There can be things that upset us in how we view the world, say ontologically or whatever. And when we have those experiences, to me, it's very fascinating how we react in different ways. So I think, we should talk to Grant.
We definitely need to get Grant on. We'll get him on.
His reaction.
Yeah, we'll get him on. Yeah, and then, I'll share some of the videos on our socials so people can see, and it'd be great to get some feedback. And like I said, there is a video out there. I don't know if it's still on YouTube, but I remember, coming home and I was like, okay, Adelanto, there's got to be, maybe there's someone out there. And it was the exact same thing that I'd seen. So I wasn't the only one.
So that was validating for
I think so, yeah, because, I mean, it's very easy when you have an anomalous experience to sort of try to rationalize it, right? That's what any reasonable mind tries to do. Is there's some reasoning for what you're seeing, like, which is why we always go back to, or I think I go back to very simply, like, oh, there's a military base close by, so it makes sense that they're probably testing something. But again, like the video and the way that how did those crafts or lights know that I was videoing enough to come back into the field of view of what is a very limiting device, really, in terms of capturing the whole sky. It's not like I was out there with a teleport, a tele, lens or anything that could really capture that vast amount of sky in that detail. Mm-hmm. So the fact that you keep seeing them come into frame, I think that's what's really interesting. Mm-hmm. Is like, did they know? What were they?
Right.
But I would love to have an experience like that again. I think it's if anything, I've always been curious, but I think if anything, it's sort of validated my curiosity, as in there are things out there that are not explained and are witnessed. And I think I'm fortunate enough to be one of those people that actually did have an experience. And I wasn't afraid. I will tell you that I was not afraid. I was really hoping that they might land. And again, my creative brain was probably going into all the movies and the films that shaped my opinion about, otherworldly entities. I've always been fascinated by, reading about the Roswell incidents, mm-hmm. And some of the interesting stories that we hear across the world of accounts with, UFOs. I mean, I've always been fascinated by it.
Did this experience further your interest, or was it already there?
Yeah, I mean, no, it was already there, definitely. But I think one of the things I love about what we're doing in our podcast is that I get to really kind of dive into it a little bit more. And then also having people that want to share their accounts as well is really fascinating. Right. Yeah.
Well, and in hearing yours, at a later episode, I will share my own origin story.
Yeah.
Because there's some very interesting parallels with yours. Big difference. Maybe it speaks more to my personality. My reaction was more fear-based.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was just something that I was like, this is something very strange. And my reaction in the moment was almost, a moment of awe and wonder followed by just intense fear.
Yeah. And I think that when we talked to Grant, not to speak for him, but I wonder if that's where he was feeling that moment of, wow, what is that? But then also like, I'm afraid by this.
Yeah.
Or this is unsettling for me and I don't want to witness it anymore because it's unsettling.
Well, we got to find out. That means this is probably, hopefully, a two-parter episode.
It will be a two-parter. Yeah, we'll get Grant, and we'll listen to his version of how he, how it resonated with him and how it made him feel, and then I think also too, like how it shaped his opinion now. Because, like I said, the one thing we always talk about is maybe going back out there and seeing if we can experience them again.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I come?
Absolutely, Bill. You're welcome all the time.
Excellent. As always, thank you everyone so much.
Yeah.
And be on the lookout for the Grant version of events
version
here.
Of the story.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Brilliant.
Till then.
All right. Take care. Bye. That wraps up this episode of Memorits. Please be sure to follow us on all the social medias. And in the meantime, if you or anyone you know has a story you'd like to share with us, please email us at memoritspodcast@gmail.com.
And special thanks to our editors, Jonathan Sanders and Chuck Jurich. Our theme music is composed and performed by Chuck Jurich and Sarah Still. And last but not least, a special studio shout-out to our mascot, Cashew.
Thanks again, everyone, for listening. And please be sure to tune in next week.